We're out here messing with the El Camino again today. Today's Tuesday. If you guys watch my live stream on Saturday, you guys would know that switching that main body over from an 850 or from a 950 to an 850, we were having stumbling issues from idle to wide open throttle. And I worked on it on Mother's Day Sunday for a little while until our neighbors had family over, and then I had to cut it short. That way, you know, I wasn't disrespectful to them and their little, Mother's Day cookout they were having. So I came out yesterday and switched up some more things on it, because I did take it for a ride on Sunday, and I switched over from the 30cc pump. I put in this 50cc pump that I had. It was a kit. It comes with a yellow cam and a brown cam. The yellow cam is for a Dominator carb setup, and so I put the brown cam on it, and after I got the cam on it, I noticed my lever was sitting kind of, it wasn't flat. They're supposed to, follow the contour of this cam. Well, as you guys can see on this nylock here, I had to unscrew this nylock so far it's almost out of the plastic in order just to have any tension at all on the cam and lever here. So I got it close to where I thought, you hit the throttle and it was discharging through the discharger, the squirters. So we ended up taking it for a ride, and at that time I had 74s in the front and 75s in the rear with 4.5 power valves. And we took it out, and hesitation, right off idle transition bog. So I bring it back again, put the 75 jet in the front, or no, excuse me, 74 in the front. I left it alone. Well, I put a block off plate for the power valve, a block off for the power valve, and then jetted up 8 sizes on the rear, and took it back out, and with the 30cc pump back on it, and it still had issues. So I'm like, well, what the hell is going on here? Usually I'm pretty good at Holley carburetors, and anytime you get a new carb out of the box, a high performance carb, and you got a big race engine like we got in the El Camino with a big solid roller camshaft, you got to do some tweaking. Tyler's actually that brawler carb that we got, that 750 brawler for Ty's 355. Only thing I had to do to that was adjust the air fuel mixture screws. Instead of 1.5 turns out, we ended up going into 1, and was its happy spot. So man, I just been banging my head off the wall. Let me flip this camera around, and I'll show you what we ended up doing, and showing you the progress that we made. Well, like I said, guys, we ended up taking it out. I switched that 30cc pump back around, and I found out when I had it on the bench, from switching it back to the 30cc pump here, I had it on the bench, and I looked, and this spring that's on your secondary blades here was off. It wasn't even in that slot there to hold any pressure on it. So my secondary blades were opened a little bit. And, I set the transfer slots, to where there's barely anything showing front and back. So I was like, well, okay, that could be an issue there. So we switched the 30cc pump back. I put the 4.5 power valves back in, front and rear, and hooked up the spring. And we took it out, and same goddamn thing. It has off idle to wide open throttle transition, stumble to it. And I'm like, man, what is going on here, man? There's something that I'm missing. So I ended up breaking out my vacuum fuel gauge here and hooking it up, and we hooked it up, and I'm only at 5 inches of vacuum, you know, 5.5. In which, with the big solid roller camshaft on these race engines, you don't get a lot of vacuum anyway. So I was like, okay, it's got to be, you know, that 4.5 power valve is our time I bring it, you know, crack the throttle blades open enough when I'm bringing it up on the converter to launch, it's already pulling off of, you know, the power valve's already opened up. So it's already, you know, there's not giving it extra fuel there. So what I did, I found that spring, so I tore the car back off again, and we put 2.5 or 3.5 power valves front and rear. And I also went on Holley's website, and on their tech, they got a tech site to, you know, if people are having trouble. So I went on there, and they said that these Ultra XPs and high performance, high-end carburetors, they have the progressive linkage. Well, if the secondary blades opening are too fast, you're going to have a, you know, a stumble, a bog. So I got looking into it, and I'll show you guys here. So what I did, I took a paint marker and I marked my secondary, my progressive linkage, you know, for the secondary side. That way, if it didn't work, I could go back to the factory settings. So what I did, I took it, you know, took the cotter key out of it, and I backed that rod out 2 turns. And what that does, it lets the secondaries open up later. You know, you get more primary opening before the secondary starts to come in. And by doing that, it made a huge difference. And you know, I don't know if it was between that, the spring put back on the secondary, you know, throttle blades, which I know was an issue, or switching from you know, a 4.5 down to a 3.5 power valve. But turning that screw out 2 turns to let the secondaries come in a little later, oh my God, I mean, there's very minute stumble there. And, you know, so we put, I jetted it back up to 76s also in that process. So, I mean, I did quite a few changes. I went from a 74 in the front, 75 in the rear with a 4.5 power valve. We went down to a 3.5 power valve and put 76s front and back, and undid the, you know, 2 turns on the progressive linkage. And this is what the tune-up looks like. Hold on, let me. Come on, focus. I mean, that tune-up, people might, you know, think that's a little rich, but if you look at the top of the strap, that's cocoa brown, guys. Porcelain's beautiful. Our timing mark is, let me see, hopefully it'll focus here. Come on, boy, this phone's a piece of shit. Timing mark is right there, you can see it. So, I mean, if you come over, I mean, you could either, it starts to turn color here to there, so somewhere in there's a timing mark. I would have to say myself that it's right there is the timing mark, which is super safe. So, I mean, the cadmium is, you know, it's got nice fuel on the cadmium. It's not black, not sooty. Cocoa brown on the strap. We're getting color back on the porcelain, which when I had it jetted at the 74s with the 4.5 power valve, it was lean. It was white. You know, the strap the tip of the plug on the strap there was white. So, I mean, the tune-up is super, super close. So, that's awesome. I mean, I'm finally getting somewhere. I took it down the road. We did a hit with it. And and man, this thing, I mean, minute stumble, and this thing just came to life, and it was on like Donkey Kong. So that's awesome. I'm finally getting somewhere. So now, if I felt like tearing the car back off for the 100th time, draining the fuel out of it, you know, I'm doing the throttle linkage, all that horse shit, I could actually probably drop down to that 2.5 power valve, and I think it would take care of that rest of that minute stumble that's there. I mean, I could live with it the way it is, but I don't want to live with it. You know, it's a $1,100 carburetor. I'm going to be spraying it. You don't want to have any hesitation when you're on nitrous, because if you do, that's when you get the nitrous backfires and blow that fiberglass hood into a million pieces. So I'll probably, before I take it back off, I'm happy with the progressive linkage. Like I said, man, it was like, bah. So I'm going to go from a 32 squirter. I have the 35 squirter here. As you guys can see the number on there. It's a 35. I'm going to up it from a 32 to a 35, and I bet you it's going to enrich in the fuel right off the hit, which is good. I mean, it'll clean itself up once the venturi starts to flow and, you know, all that good stuff. So this might, you know, take care of the problem without me having to tear it down and change on power valves. Because at 5.5 inches of vacuum, you know, Holley says they want half of that. Well, 2.5 and 2.5 is 5. And I'm at 5.5, so, you know, actually 3.5, which is in there, is more like for a 6 inches of vacuum. So I might be a little bit on the high side on the power valve yet, but man, we are getting super close. I mean, I'm happy with the air-fuel ratios. That is actually driving a half mile down the road to the, you know, to Mexico, turning around, bringing it up on the converter, launching it, taking it through first and second, and I got into third, and then I let out of it, coasted to the stop sign, and then took off and drove it back here, shut it off, pulled the plugs, checked them, and that's where we're at. And like I said, I am super happy the way the plug looks. I mean, that's the best it's looked so far. It's the best it's ran so far. Today's Tuesday. I got till Thursday to get everything ironed out and get it loaded on the trailer before we go down to see Schneidertron and Mike, Puppetron, and Terrence is coming from Ohio with the parts for the Blazer. And so I still got 2 more days. I'm making progress is what I'm saying. So we are super, super close. And we also got the wheel bearings packed in the trailer this morning. I was out here first thing this morning before it got hot. It's 80 degrees out right now. But, you know, I've towed the El Camino doubly a couple times. You know, it's a 2021 trailer. I've had it to Josh's up, you know, across the state when we went and got the S10, but the S10 didn't weigh much. But I wanted to make sure that the wheel bearings were all set before I, you know, have a heavy load on it, which the El Camino, and pulling it that distance. And good thing I did, because there was nothing hardly in the bearings. And which, you know, I worked at an RV place for a long time. I know, well, from the factory, they usually just pack them a little bit and put them in. They don't put any extra grease in there or anything. So I'm glad I did that. So the trailer is done. That's one more thing off of our checklist. El Camino is super, super close on tune-up. On engine, the engine tune-up right now is, I'm going to say 99%. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to flow the nitrous. I got a flow gauge here that my buddy Dave, he's got a 65 El Camino with a 6.0 LS carbureted engine in it. He just bought a nitrous express plate kit that he put on his over the winter also. So he let me borrow his flow gauge. So I'm going to flow the fuel jet on our plate system and make sure I can get the fuel pressure down enough to where if I can get it close to what Nitrous Express wants. We still haven't got our board, so I'm just going to hook a relay up and run it that way for now, guys. If I can get the fuel pressure low enough to where, close to what they're asking. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to give you an update video. We will be taking the car out for a hit. I don't know if it'll be today. I'm still got a couple things I want to do to it. So if it happens today, we'll do a second video of it. But I just wanted to give you a quick update video of where we were at and let you know we're getting her, So, but if we do decide to take it out tonight, the wife will video for me, and we'll take it out and we'll give you guys some Mexico action and let you see what's happening with it. But until then, guys, I really appreciate everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. All right, bye-bye.